Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Manchester United podcast. I'm your host for this evening, Niall Hannigan, and I'm delighted to be joined by Sam Brady. Sam, how are you getting on?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. I think it's been a long time since we've done an episode together, so it's good to be back on an episode with you, mate. And yeah, good. Obviously, a draw on the weekend, which not a terrible result. But how are you keeping yourself, mate?
Yeah, grand. I mean, as best as we can. I don't think we were shocked by the result of the weekend. If anything, probably happy with a point, but just kind of shows where we are at the moment, I suppose. Being a United fan, compounded by that Premier League lift at the weekend, but I'm sure we'll have to touch on that at some point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. A pretty lackluster performance. Lucky to get the last minute goal from Hoyland, but I suppose 1-1 away to Bournemouth. They are flying this year compared to where we are, so we can't be too disappointed with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. On the face of it, as you said, a draw away at Bournemouth. As you said, they're flying as well. On the face of it, it's not a bad result. Considering where we are and considering we probably have all eyes on the Europa League now. Obviously, there's not much to play for in the league anymore. First half, again, it wasn't really great, and then second half, obviously we had to push for the equaliser, and even when we got the equaliser, to be honest, I was like, maybe we can go on and try and nick this, but yeah, not a lot of positives to really take from it. I mean, the only positive you can really say is it's not a loss against the Bournemouth side who have been flying this year. Hoyland obviously got on the score sheet, so hopefully that gives him a bit of confidence going into Thursday. And to be honest, it could have gone a lot worse if we sort of didn't get a result at the Vitality on Sunday. I would be going into that obviously important game on Thursday not confident at all, and I'm still not fully confident, especially away. But I'm like, maybe we can do something. So not an awful result, but again, not a great result, to be honest.
Yeah, these guys could go out and win 9-0 or lose 9-0, and you still wouldn't have a clue what's coming the next day. So just kind of sums up the season, I suppose. But I suppose first half, Bournemouth kind of the better side. Semenyo gets a goal, great strike, kind of bobbled back out to him. Low kind of driven finish with his left foot. There's a lot of talk around Cunha at the moment. A lot of talk that it actually is going to happen. Fabrizio Romano reporting it. All the kind of big podcasts out there speaking about it as well. Is Semenyo someone that you're looking at as an option, or if he was available, would you kind of think he's a proven kind of player to play in one of those number 10 positions?
Yeah, I think a lot of those Bournemouth players actually are might obviously are on the radar of big clubs and might move on in the summer. Dean Huijsen is obviously another name on a lot of people's lips at the minute, but Anton Semenyo, he's a quality player, to be honest. He's got bags of quality, and I think he's shown that this season, and he's been a lot of part of the success at Bournemouth. Obviously, on that right hand side, we had Ahmad, and then obviously he's now injured. What it looks like maybe he might come back just at the end of the season. But Semenyo would be a great option off that right hand side. I mean, as cover for Ahmad, if obviously we've seen this season Ahmad's got injured and we don't really have that quality on the right hand side. Almiron maybe likes to play Bruno further forward, but I think I've mentioned it, and a few of us have mentioned it in previous weeks, where I actually prefer Bruno in that deeper role, in the sort of 8 role where he can pick up the ball and create more chances in that role. So I would like to see, if it's not Ahmad, more squad depth on that right hand side, and exactly like the left hand side. I mean, you mentioned Cunha there. I mean, it's Semenyo and Cunha. They're similar players in sort of the seasons they've had for their respective clubs, where they've been the main man, and Cunha is another one where he's got bags of talent. But I was reading a column that Paul Scholes actually put out, a TNT column, where I fully agreed, where he said it's another case of an amazing player with bags of quality, but will it will it be a case of a player having quality and potential, coming to United and it not working out? And we've seen that with quite a few of the players that we brought in the summer. So yeah, I mean, Cunha excites me, Semenyo excites me. Obviously, strong rumours that Cunha is going to come into Old Trafford into the summer, and I'd be very happy with the signing of Cunha. But obviously, I'm now very sceptical of players coming into a graveyard, what United seems to be at this moment of time.
Yeah, I mean, there's numerous examples of that, so it's easy to kind of get on board with that article, and it is a bit worrying. But yeah, I think Cunha and Semenyo are quite similar in that type of profile for that number 10 position. I agree with your point around Bruno. I think naturally he drifts back into the deeper line position anyway, so you'd nearly rather play him there and play number 10s that are more suited to these type of number 10s, where you need to be very athletic, you need to be a good ball carrier as well, which a lot of times Bruno isn't that. He's got strengths in other areas, but he's not going to go and beat players with dribbling potential. And I think those kind of players really have the balance of being able to play in those roles. So it will be interesting to see. Interesting you mentioned Dean Hojlund as well. I mean, seems like a brilliant footballer. I don't know where he's going to end up, but he'd be lovely in that back three as well at United. But then you can't have everyone, so I don't think we can be too greedy when it comes to Bournemouth.
Yeah, and I think it also sort of determines on whether we have Champions League football next year. I think I mentioned it on an episode last week where there was rumours a couple of weeks ago of a Liam Delap maybe moving on from Ipswich, and he was rumoured as well for 30 million. And it really, the profile of players we go in for, I think, really does depend on whether we get Champions League football next year. I think if we do get Champions League football, we can start talking about maybe the Osimhen's of the world, and to be honest, even the Dean Huijsens, because a young player like that is going to want to sort of advance his career and play in Europe's best competitions. And if we're left with no European football next year, then we are sort of going down the pecking orders of looking at the sort of type of players we can bring in, and we are looking at the sort of Liam Delaps of the world, and that's why I'm sort of surprised but also glad that we're pushing to get the Cunha deal over the line before the season's even over. Because I was surprised that he's willing to make that sort of decision until the season's over, until sort of our Champions League or European football fate is decided in the next couple of weeks, and especially when I think Wolves maybe even higher than us in
exactly.
the minute. So yeah, I don't know. He might be thinking about regretting that decision if he makes it before the season ends. But hey, I'm glad with it, and I mean, it all determines how these next couple of weeks play out, to be honest.
And it's also refreshing to actually see, these deals getting close, or so they say, early, because there's been so many seasons where we're left at the end scrambling, and then you end up overpaying and kind of looking for anyone that'll join, and that's happened just so many times post the Fergie era as well, and it's obviously playing into the performances on the pitch. So yeah, it would be nice to get Cunha over the line before we get knocked out by Bilbao. But anyway, we'll take a quick break there, and I'll be back to discuss a bit more about the second half against Bournemouth.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimize your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now. Your body is unique.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
So we mentioned at the top of the show, it was a pretty dull performance, 1-1 draw for United, but our man Rasmus Hoyland bagged himself a goal, and boy did he look happy when that went in the back of the net. What was your thoughts on that, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, he looked absolutely relieved that he got that goal, and yeah, I think look, there's no shying away from it that it's been a really tough season for him, especially where I think a lot of us United fans thought that he was sort of kicking on last season, where he bagged a few goals, especially in the Champions League, and I still believe my point where I've said it throughout Hoyland's sort of United career, where, and I've seen it from last year, where if you can get him within that 6-yard area, I genuinely do believe he's a good finisher when you get him in front of goal. I just think this season he's played so much of a different role than his sort of ideal position, where I think where Hoyland's best is putting balls in behind and getting him to run onto it and getting him in front, sort of in between the goalposts, where I think a lot of this season has been him back to goal, sort of holding the ball up and being a sort of link-up striker, and I just don't think he is that. And then also he's playing that role, and then when the balls are getting put into the box, he's not there because he's flagging behind, because he's the one sort of who started the role. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's been a tough season for him, and I would sort of look to bring in another number 9 in the summer, because I also think we have realised now that Joshua Zirkze's best position is probably not that main focus role. It probably is maybe a number 10 role, because he does what Hoyland was sort of supposed to do this season very well, I think. In Zirkze is that type of striker where the ball is good when you get it to his feet, and he can lay it off and play those nice flicks and tricks. So I would try and bring someone in the summer. And with Hoyland, I think maybe the best option for him, maybe potentially next season, is send him out on loan. I mean, why not? Send him to a team, sort of a lower team, where he can be the main striker, he can bag a few goals, get his confidence up, and then maybe bring him back when we're sort of further down the Almiron sort of like progression, and then maybe he can come back with a bit of confidence, and maybe he will be that striker that we want him to be in the future. But I just think this season for him, and for all the squad obviously, but for him in particular, has been so tough that I think he needs to get the confidence back from somewhere, and I just don't think it's going to be at United at this point in time. The only problem is he's our only striker at the minute, so whether you love him or hate him, we're going to have to deal with him until the season's out. So I mean, he's going to have to start scoring it if we want to start winning games, and that's especially important in the Europa League as well.
Yeah, definitely. I like your points on Hoyland. I think there is a player in there in terms of a good finisher. I also think it's bigger than a Hoyland question. It's the whole team in general. Like, there's absolutely zero service for him, and when there is service, it's very random. Like, you can see a lot of times when we actually do get an opportunity, and this is throughout the season, you know, it's Garnacho or it's Dallo or it's Dorgu more recently. It's, you know, random kind of players popping up in positions that might pull a ball back, might whip it across the 6-yard box, might dink it up in the air. Like, he has no idea how to play with these players or what he's actually going to get from them. And you can see the frustration in his face then when there's a really good ball played and he's not there, or he's made a really good run and the ball's not there. And I think it is a bit random, a bit difficult to play with those players, especially when we're still when the whole team is trying to understand how to play this new system. And it's very clear that they're not really comfortable in the positions that they're all playing in. Pretty much none of them are comfortable in it. I made a point before that I actually don't know who the team is based around. Normally you'd have a focal point and you would say, oh, well, Bruno's our best player, but Bruno plays about 3 different positions every game. So he starts in the number 10. Then when we need to go for it, he drops back in and they bring on Mount into the 10. And then he might play out wide at some stages as well. So I think it is more of a United formation playing style issue rather than Hoyland being rubbish, because I don't think he is. But yeah, I agree. He's kind of one of those all action strikers. He's not like he hasn't got an amazing first touch or anything. He's more for one touch finishes in the box, a bit more of a poacher. But then his confidence has been so lacking that when he has had those chances this year, he hasn't really been able to put them away. So it's frustrating watching him, because I think we're both in the same boat that we believe that there is something there, but it's been 2 years and we haven't really seen it.
Yeah, and I think you could say that about a lot of the players. These players aren't completely useless. It's just a consistent sort of players coming into the team, and it just not working for whatever reason, and the just inconsistencies in so many players. I mean, yeah, you can scapegoat Hoyland, but you could say the same about Garnacho. You could say the same about Casemiro. I mean, his first season he was excellent, and then obviously he's dipped, and then now he's come back into form. So there's so many individuals that you look at, and you just look at so many inconsistencies in their performances. And also, as you mentioned they're now being asked to play a completely different style to what was asked from them under Ten Hag. I mean, and that's maybe suiting some players more than others. And I think Hoyland's definitely a case of it's not really gelling and clicking for him right now. I mean, as we said, there is a player in him, and we saw glimpses of that last season. And he did score a few goals for us last season, so you can tell there's definitely a player in there. But then Almiron's coming in and asking him to play a completely different style of play that he's used to, and that I think doesn't suit him as the striker. I mean, we saw, like I said, I think you see Hoyland at his best where you pop a ball in behind the defence and get him chasing a defender shoulder to shoulder and get him inside the box. When you're just pumping a ball up to Hoyland and trying to get him to touch it, as you said, his first touch isn't great anyway, and then he's looking to pop it off to someone and no one's up there to support him. So I think it's very easy to sort of scapegoat the striker.
Yeah.
And then also Onana as well has been under criticism as well this season. So strike number 9 for United and in goal for United, that they are very sort of lonely positions where when things aren't going well, because all the sort of spotlight is on you. But I think it's very hard this season to sort of call out one or two individuals when, I mean, as I've said, it's been a graveyard for players coming in and out of the squad for recent years. And look at Scott McTominay now on the weekend, 4-2. I mean, he's someone that we need right now in the box, popping up with some goals for us at the minute, and it looks like he's about to help Napoli win the Serie A as well. So just another example of a player going somewhere else and shining.
Absolutely, and you're delighted for him as well, nearly to get out of the cloud looming over the club at the moment, because he was coming under so much stick as well, and to see him kind of thriving there is brilliant. But yeah, we'll take another quick break and we'll be back with some even more depressing news.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
I feel like we have to touch on it, Sam. Unfortunately, there was a big victory at Anfield yesterday against Spurs. I mean, it was never in doubt really against Spurs. They weren't going to put up much of a fight, but yeah, the inevitable happened. Liverpool won the league, tied again on the top with United in terms of the amount of league titles. It's a bad day. It's a bad day, and it's a bad year for the club.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually speaking to my granddad earlier about this, and the thing is, a lot of people say when Klopp left, Slot inherited an amazing team as well, and a lot of people do make that comparison to when Fergie left on obviously an end of an era, and the argument a lot of the time is, oh yeah, but Liverpool's squad was basically a title-winning team when Klopp left and Slot inherited it. But I honestly do think they got the appointment of Arne Slot absolutely spot on. I mean, you can tell just by the way he carries himself. He's just such a relentless and sort of, he's got that arrogance that I think you need to be a successful modern day manager. Now, I think a lot of managers at the top, like the Artetas, the Peps, the Slots, they have a sort of ruthlessness and relentlessness attitude of winning at all cost. And I think you see that with Slot, where he's always very animated, but he's so ruthless, and he carries himself with such a good attitude. And I think that is sort of a perfect example of how you can get an appointment right, and how you sort of can bring someone in who holds the same values as as your predecessor. Where I think a lot of the problem that has been with the United over the past couple of years has been the sort of scattergun approach of different managers that were brought in managers and sort of completely reset, where there's not been a sort of consistent level of this is where we are and this is where we want to get to. We've tried sort of everyone's best friend in Ole. We've tried Mourinho, sort of the ruthless leader. We've tried the character in Van Gaal. All these different managers with all different attitudes and all different mindsets of how they want to play and who they want to sort of bring into their squad. I think that's just been a catalyst of error after error, and this is where we are. Where Liverpool, the appointment of Arne Slot, they clearly looked at his profile, looked at his characteristics, look what he did over in Holland, and went, you know what, he's not too far off what Jurgen Klopp was sort of building, and he's not too far off personality traits than Jurgen. So we'll bring him in, and obviously you've seen the fruits of the labour straight away, unfortunately. So, and to be honest, I've been disappointed that Arsenal haven't been able to sort of challenge this year, and it doesn't fill me with confidence really that they're going to be able to put up a fight against next year. So we'll see about next season. But yeah, I mean, credit where it's due that they have been unbelievable this year, unfortunately.
Absolutely, and they can only beat who's in front of them as well, and the other teams just didn't really put up the kind of consistent fight that's been going on over the past couple of years, particularly with Arsenal and City. So now they've been excellent. And another thing as well that's kind of relating it back to United in a way, they never panicked at all when they didn't sign anyone in the summer. So they obviously went hard after Zubimendi, and then that fell through. And it wasn't, well, we need to buy someone because, this is Klopp's squad. What's Slot going to do? Does he not want players? It wasn't a Marwan Fellaini situation where you're bringing in maybe a Dutch player that you played with, a couple of years ago, just to kind of make sure you have a friend there at the time to kind of back you up. And he just improved so many players throughout the season as well. Like there's no one that would have said that Liverpool were going to win the league. If it wasn't City, it was going to be Arsenal. And they've just been excellent. And it's interesting when you say, is it a title winning squad? At the start of the season, you would have said no, and now it's like, oh yeah, obviously. But I mean, some of those players in midfield, like Jones and Gravenberch, like they've been unbelievable. And obviously Salah has been incredible, and Van Dijk and everyone. But yeah, it's just it is pretty sickening to see. Obviously, you can appreciate how good of a team they are, but it is Liverpool at the end of the day, so it's pretty tough, especially when you're always surrounded by Liverpool fans.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is the concern I do have with Almiron, and since he's come in, I really want to back him, and I really do feel like obviously we need to give him the chance and give him a summer window to sort of bring in players that he wants to bring in. But you can't say there's been improvement since he's come in terms of a league position point of view. I mean, that's where you look at Slot, as you said, who their midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister, and I'm missing
Jones, or there's Harvey. I mean, he doesn't play Harvey Elliott that much, but Szoboszlai. Like these are solid players, but they're not
Yeah, exactly. If you would have said at the start of the season, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and McAllister, is that a title-winning midfield? You would have gone no. But Slot's instantly come in and improve those players and taken them to the next level. And even Salah this year has probably had an all-time season for his standards. Gravenberch has been one of the best midfielders in the league. Obviously, Konate and Van Dijk, and even with this contract situation as well, they haven't panicked. Obviously, the noise, a lot of the external noise could have distracted the players, but they haven't panicked. They got obviously the two in Salah and Van Dijk, and Trent was probably always going to move on to Madrid. But I think that's where I do have my concerns in the back of my head, where I'm like, I can see in some games sort of the style of play and the players sometimes gelling and little plays we do going forward. And I'm like, okay, that's not bad here or there. But then when you look from a league perspective and we're still right there near the bottom of the league, I'm like, I would like to have seen just a little bit more improvement since Almiron's come in. But that being said, as I said at the start of my point, we'll give him a summer window to bring in the players that can actually play this style of play. We'll see the players that depart, because I think there needs to be a bit of an overhaul with the squad. And then we'll see at the start of the season whether we start to improve or not, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, we could chat all day about, I could chat for hours about Amorim's system and if it's going to work. And, the leaders within the group, I think I had a chat with Kieran about this before. Leaders within the group, you look at the other kind of title winning team, Liverpool this year, there's leaders pouring out of everywhere there. There's captains all over the pitch. So, there's a long way to go for us. But we have to kind of start from where we are, obviously. And hopefully there can be some improvement, because I want it to work for Amorim. But like you said, he came in November, end of November, December. Like it's been a while, there hasn't been a clear improvement or even that many signs of improvement either. But we're going to stay hopeful. We're going to crawl over this finish line of a season. And I'm sure the lads will be doing a bit of a preview for the Europa League game coming up this week as well. But Sam, thanks very much for joining me. We had to get that episode over, drawn to Bournemouth and Liverpool winning the league. Is probably not the most exciting episode for a United fan or United podcast to do, but appreciate your time. And we'll see you in the next one.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.